Another thing that they could teach in this quest pack of Morgrave University wannabe Hogwarts would be jump casting. Like, jump casting isn't really a thing that ever is talked about, but anybody who's played DDO for a long time knows about jump casting and knows to jump cast. So I just think it's a really interesting idea that if they had a class that was designed around teaching you as a caster, or you wouldn't even, you could do it on a fighter. Like, you could go into this class as a dragon lord and they can still teach you about jump casting, because you can jump cast scrolls, you can jump cast wands, you can jump cast potion use if you wanted to. Back before they released alchemists, it wasn't everybody who could drink a potion and just run unimpeded. I think everybody can now. But back in the day, everything used to slow you down, but you could bypass that by jump casting it. So I still, and it doesn't always work. Like, you can see, like, I start the cast in the middle, but then I finish it when I hit the ground. So I still do have to deal with, like, a couple of slow footsteps, but overall, if I were to just cast, you can see that's really slow, as if opposed if I jump and try to cast at the same time, I can continue to move fast. That's the whole point of doing that. What I think they should do is, like, make the combat casting feat, make it so that it basically gives you jump casting without jump casting. That's what I think combat casting should do. But I haven't messed around with combat casting in a long time. Maybe it does do that. I don't know. I mean, it would be worth trying it out, because they may have actually said, yeah, well, everybody's always jump casting. Let's just make it so that combat casting does exactly what they want it to do. And I say this every time I see Doris, because Doris is a Warforged now. She's in a Titan. I think they should give us skins for our Warforged so that we can make them. Obviously, they're not going to give us a Titan skin because it's just too big, but they should give us something beyond these generic, this is like the generic Warforged. They should give us the ones that are in the Player's Handbook. Player's Handbook has a whole bunch of different, the Eberron Player's Handbook has a whole bunch of different, like, models for the Warforged. I would actually probably even play Warforged more if I could make it look like an elf. I think they should let you look like an Iron Defender if you want. Right? Like, why not? Why not? If you want to play as an Iron Defender, I think you should be able to. And I've said it before when I've done this in the past, like, it's really cool that they set a quest in the Mournlands, but I think what they should have done, kind of like what they did in Shavarath, is added an environmental effect out here. Because the Mournlands, I mean, we are in basically a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The Mournlands were the creation of a doomsday weapon that completely obliterated the nation of Seer and turned it into basically like a magical ash, and it dissolves living flesh to go there. So living things can't go. The only things that can go out into the Mournlands and survive, which is why all the Warforged are there, are basically constructs. Like, they're not eaten up by whatever the magic is that destroyed everything. So while I love the fact that they actually made a quest in the Mournlands, I kind of was hoping that they would have honored the lore and made it so that we were on a timer or something. Like, we should have to do this quest quickly, otherwise we're just going to dissolve into a pile of goo. Oh, I should put Death Ward on myself so I'm not overcome by these shadows. Or former residents of Seer. Not sure if they want to be addressed that way, but... Okay, come here. Yeah. I should probably use my hireling, because she would, like, cast spells on me, but I forgot. I'm not in the habit of using hirelings, although I do really like that hireling. She's a gold seal, so we can use her. Yeah, this is the new pack. I highly think she's... I would recommend getting at least the collector edition just to get a hold of this hireling, because she works really well. She's not as good as Larafay, but having a gold seal archer that casts regenerate and renewal on you, that is like really helpful to have. So, it is, I think, what, 40 bucks more to get the collector edition over the standard edition, which, yeah, now we're in the price of a AAA game. Most AAA games are like 70 bucks. But I think if you play DDO a lot, it's really easy to justify getting a gold seal higher that will heal you from level 14 up. Will she be viable into epics? I don't know. We'll use her. We'll see. They do have a level 34 version of her that I will eventually be able to use, but we'll see. Maybe the low-level version is good. So that champion just obliterated her and did, like, it brought me to below, like, I just healed. It did like 500 damage. What the actual F? That thing did a lot of damage. So I'm going to give her a heroism. And hopefully she heals herself. Yes, she did. See, she just threw a renewal on me. Or I said that wrong. It's a, vigor. Oh, do I have the spell damage proc? I think I do. Yeah, and I've said it when I was wearing this outfit that I'm wearing is from the new DLC. It's the elf, the Eladrin, basically the elf outfit. I would love to be able to dye this. Like, we don't have dye in DDO, but I would love to be able to dye it black. I think that's optional in there. I think. I'm gonna skip the optional. Just have to make sure we get these quells. So I don't mind the effect where I turn into a giant. I much prefer that than the iron pot on my head. So that did no damage. I don't understand why. But I try to make a note of it every time that happens because I really don't understand why sometimes it does no damage. Somebody said it has something to do with the way they have alignments coded, but I'm not sure. I think it should be coded that it does damage similar to what light does, because that's what alignment damage basically is, but apparently it's coded slightly differently. And she died again. It's one of the reasons that I don't like using hirelings, just because they're you're babysitting basically. They're not very bright. They don't really move out of the way of danger. They'll stand there and just soak up a bunch. Like, if you could stand them in fire, they'll just stand there and just take the fire damage and then eventually die. Like, it would be nice if they were coded to be smart enough where if they're taking damage, they should move. Now, I know that they have this code in the game because how many of us have fought a skeleton and the fucking skeleton moves away from you when you attack it and then you have to chase it, especially if you're on a melee. It's just such a pain, right? Like, they clearly can do it. Well, why can't they code my hireling to do the same thing that a skeleton that isn't even alive, it's just a dumb skeleton, can do? Apparently, if we were to catalog everything that I would change, it's quite a few things. But I don't think that's a game-breaking AI enhancement where, oh my god, the hirelings are gonna basically make the game easy mode and somebody could just go AFK, cook a hamburger, and the hireling's gonna do the quest for them. No. All I'm asking for is the same thing that the archer skeletons have to move back when you attack them for these hirelings. So if they're standing in lava, they just move out of the lava. It's not that hard. We're gonna do our lightning storm SLA on this dude. The damage is just really underwhelming for that spell. Like I said, it's A tier. The hitbox, like, I can target this ghost. We'll see. We'll test it. I can target the ghost, be running away, and hit him with the lightning, and it just killed him. I didn't even have to be looking at him. So that's why it's A tier, right? Even though the damage is lame. That hitbox is great. It's like one of the best hitbox. It's very similar to the Exalted Angel light pillar hitbox, although I think you still have to be looking at them to hit them with the pillar. And very similar to the Primal Avatar, the Storm. Their SLA for electric and snow is really good like that too. And that one has no range. Like, this one has a range, that one has no range. So that one is really cool. It's unfortunate it's only single target, but you can literally be on the other side of the map and use that spell. This quest, honestly, aside from the lore, like the lore break where I shouldn't be able to run around in the Mournlands unless I'm on a Warforged, if we ignore all that, the other part of this quest that I don't like is that it's a babysitting quest where you have to, like, monitor an NPC, and I've never really liked them. Anybody who's done the quest with Coil out in East Threnal knows, like, the NPCs are even dumber than the hirelings. So this one seems pretty good, though. It's fast at keeping up with me. It's actually faster than my hireling, although you know, it doesn't have a lot of hit points, but it doesn't die. So if, like, I accidentally screw up, I don't have to, like, start over again. So that's nice. Living meteor swarms can do a lot of damage, so I think I might even skip this quest on Hardcore League too. Maybe not if I were in a really good group, but if I were soloing, I'd probably think twice about this, because unless I made sure that, like, I had a source of death ward to cover the shadow damage, and then I would want to make sure that my DPS was high enough that I could nuke those meteor swarms. I mean, they're not living fingers of death, but they're still up there. The whole idea of the hardcore is to, you know, maximize your time, right? Like, to not make a mistake. And sometimes not making a mistake means avoiding the mistakes completely by skipping the quest. Like, sometimes that's just the smartest way to play, is just not play. you know, just skip the quest and do something else. Because there's plenty of favor now from all the other quests that they've added in the game. So, you know, even if you're going for 5k, which is a super slog, takes a lot of time, you have to be really committed to get that. I kind of, you know, my feeling, I said this at the beginning of the stream when we were talking about the hardcore event on the Wayfinder, and that's something for anybody who showed up since we talked about that, I'll post more info about to check out. But it's one of those things, like, on the hardcore where people are, you know, sometimes they are trying quests that they haven't done on the live server in years and years, and they just don't remember something, and then they end up dying in something stupid. Like I said earlier about traps, sometimes people are caught in traps that they just forgot were there. So for this, we have to tell both of these to stay put. So you stay. You stay. And now we'll do this the same as we do the salt marsh, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's even easier than the salt marsh. We just run over it once. Okay, we've got the dog. Everybody still on the same page? Hello? You're having a pathing problem? Okay. Can you make it through this door? I'm not sure he can make it through that door. He seems to be stuck at that door. Alright, there he is. I turned into a rat. That's one of the very bad effects. You can see it's a very strange looking graphic with the wings floating over the little rat, but yeah, that's a polymorph. That's like one of the negatives. So she keeps dying. Again, she's not moving and she's not repositioning to do the archer damage. She's just standing there. Face tanking. All right, so we made it. We can exit now. I will use this shrine because I'm at 30%. And we'll rest her too. Something else I would change, I've said this before too, I think what they should do with hirelings is make it so that you can pick a hireling that you like at level 1, and then they add it. You know how they have like horses and pets we have like a stable, this thing here. They make pets, they make your hirelings like in here, kind of like a mount or a pet. And basically, so let's say you really like Larafay, you pick Larafay, and then you can just pull her out at level 1, and then all you would have to do on like this here is just toggle what you want her to do as a role. So if you want her to heal, if you want her to DPS, or if you want her to tank. And you know, obviously if she's tanking, she's basically standing there with the shield and throwing out intimidates. If she's DPSing, I need fire resist. If she's DPSing, she's basically doing whatever she does to DPS, and then if she's healing, you know, she heals, and that would basically allow them, or if trapping would be something else that you would do too, right? Taking a lot of damage in here from these quells. Oh, and there's the iron pot, which is why the That is so annoying. And you can't mitigate that. Like, you just have to deal with it. So, good luck if you're in the middle of doing the floor jump in, what is that grade where the abbot, where people get the quivers. Like, good luck doing that, where you have to see exactly where you're jumping if you accidentally pop an iron pot on your head. Alright, we're gonna get her up, and then she's gonna basically throw out a bunch of heals on us. Yeah, she's really good. She's a very good healer. She'll just spam you with vigor. Well, which way did I come in? I think I'm going this way, right? Yeah. There we go. The other thing about this quest is, like, I think they should have ended it here. The fact that now we have to go do a sub-quest. Like, we just did this whole dog quest, right? Now we tell Doris, okay, we're done. And then she says, well, really, this was only the first part. Now you have to go and do another quest for the Lord of Blades himself, and it's a completely different quest. Right? So we go talk to the Lord of Blades. And he wants us to go clear out a factory that's being inhabited by people working for Vecna, right? Which is this crazy cult of whatever they call themselves. We'll see what they call themselves. I forget off the top of my head, but which they give, I guess Vecna, you could say, because he's like a super elder, like demigod, maybe he imbued them with the ability to live in the Mournlands, but that's another, like, immersion breaking thing that, you know, like, if these were renegade Warforged working for Vecna, I would understand that, but the fact that they're not, they're like whatever this closed hand organization or whatever their name is, they're here, they're just basically humanoids. They should be piles of goo. Kevin Head, happy Friday. Hope that you're having a good day, man. I appreciate you saying hello. Hopefully you're up to something fun tonight. Yeah, these guys, the Hidden Hand. This is the Vecna cult. And these are humanoids, right? These people should be goo from the Mournland apocalyptic effect. And it really bothers me. Maybe it's because I'm a writer and I like this sort of intricacies of narrative. The fact that they have completely bypassed, like, an essential component of what the Mournlands is. No, like, come on, bro. Like, they need to, you know, like, this is a no-go zone for a reason. There's a reason why there's Warforged out here. Like, that's the whole point of the Mournlands. You could come up with a story on magic that allows humanoids to be out here, but I think that, you know, that should be an element, even if it's something that we just read when we pick up the quest, right? I have no problem with them bypassing it, but, you know, just keeping with the narrative by saying, oh, well, we've erected a special field around where Doris is for you. And we've noticed that that's being taken advantage of by other people that we didn't intend to be there, that kind of thing, you know? It doesn't take a lot to think about that either, right? Like, from a writing perspective, it's just staying to the source material and not, you know. So, another thing for hardcore, the Skull Guards, they hit really, really hard. For the level, these things hit super hard. So if I were on hardcore, I would stay really far away from these skull guards if they weren't CC'd. Especially if you're doing R4 and you're running around at level 32, whatever, 34, whatever the new level cap will be when they have hardcore again. I would be really careful because they can just do a ton of damage really fast. Unless you were like a tank and you had really high PRR. I can't say that I would play a Chaosmancer on Hardcore League or a Wild Mage or whatever just because of all the negative effects. I think that they could imperil you to where, like, you could get the wrong negative at the wrong time and it could actually cause you to die. Like, it would be super unlikely, but, like, it's just... You're trying to mitigate as much unforeseen as you can. You're already dealing with like server lag, right? You're already dealing with stuff like that. You're already dealing with pugs who behave in ways that are just humanly incomprehensible. And then to add to it like magic procs, wild magic procs. I mean, you could do it as, I think it would be a fun challenge, right? It would be a fun challenge to do a hardcore as a wild casting mage, just because of all, you know, make sure that you have access to all the negatives, like being polymorphed into a rat, being able to be danced with Otto's irresistible dance, because there's no way to avoid that once it happens. Like, I haven't figured a way to unpolymorph myself, you know? And here we are just guessing. Right? We're trying to be psychic. And it worked. It worked, man. I guess I'm psychic. This is a total guess. That yellow is a square. It's cool though. We'll take it. Oh, I need the passcode. Fuck. I forgot what that passcode was. Okay. 61953. And so, if anybody doesn't know, you guys probably do know, but say, just like that. There you go. And we have a fight against a boss right in here. They give us a shrine. We don't need the shrine. We do want XP though, so that's why I'm breaking stuff. Yeah, more of these. We need to stay away from those, like I said. I don't remember this fight being too difficult though, but I know it calls out an iron golem. Yeah, the iron golem has a lot of hit points. It's a little bit of lag. And I phased out, and I think when you phase out, all of a sudden you can't damage anything, because I noticed that for some reason my damage just goes down. So let's see what the lightning does to this dude. Oh, it does full damage. That's good. Chaos is doing full damage as well. Fire is healing him. I have a magical bewilderment on me, so I can't actually cast a normal spell. I can only cast my SLAs, but that's okay. I have enough SLAs that I can just cycle them all. Okay, she vigored me. That's great. There is a chest in here. This is a random chest, though. I don't think there's an actual chest in here. I think the actual chest is at the end. So we go back to the Lord of Blades, and we tell him that we're done, and thankfully we're done. He doesn't say, oh, now I need you to go do my Lord of Blades laundry for me. Really good amount of XP for this quest, though, so that's like one of the reasons that I like to do it, though, even though there's a lot. And so that belt, how I do this is you take the con number or whatever your ability score is and you double it, and that's what the level should be. So at level 19, we want this constitution to be 9 plus 9, right? That's as close as we could get. Level 19, that would be 18. Whereas plus 8's only 16. It's for level 19 item, the con is too low, so I wouldn't even think about saving that. I would just either sell it or melt it. If you're ever wondering, like maybe you're new to the game and you're wondering how to like guess what abilities look good, and you may notice that I have a belt on that is plus 8. That's a crafted belt. I made it. Minimum level 16 augment is in it, the Topaz of Wizardry. I made it at level 17, so I added Insightful Con and Insightful Spell Resist to it. So those numbers, Insightful Spell Resist is 12, is from level 17. I think Insightful Con is the same at level 16 and 17, and then Con doesn't go up until it would be level 18. It would go up to plus 9 on a crafted item, but I made this because I wanted to be able to put it on at level 17, if that makes sense. So kind of why that is the belt that I have. So I can put it on earlier, but the power is still there, even though the con is one lower than I would actually want. Technically, if I find another double slotted belt, I probably would make a level 18 version of that same belt, and then I would have my con up a little bit. And if I were doing like really hardcore questing, like R4s in heroics, where I want to squeak every bit of power out, that's exactly what I would do. But for our purposes here, it doesn't really matter. I'm super, super close to getting level 20, and that's going to basically be like a huge game changer for me, because then I can put on gear and I can go out and start do epic questing, and we can start heading for level 32. That's great. I haven't had a break yet, though. I see there's a few more people here, so what I'm going to do is refresh my tea. Hope you guys are all having a great night. I'm only going to be AFK for like 4 or 5 minutes, so I'm going to stretch and all that stuff, get some more tea, and then we'll continue. Hopefully I get pretty far into epics tonight. We'll see. You know, I'm headed to 32 to reincarnate and do another life. I haven't decided yet what we're going to do, but I will keep the build open while I go AFK so you guys can see what I've done. And I said this at the beginning of the stream, but I'll just reiterate this now. I respec myself out of all of the chaos controls, so I have none. So all of the bad surges and very bad surges can happen. I even spec'd into this power in chaos where I gain +2 caster levels, but I have more likelihood that I'm going to get bad stuff. And I went into unstable sorcery. So I just basically took as much stuff as I could that would boost my power, but not mitigate the bad stuff from happening at all. And I can honestly tell you, so far, I have not noticed a difference at all. The neutral stuff is just as immersion breaking and bad as the bad or very bad stuff. Actually, the very bad stuff is sort of amusing because one of them you're polymorphed into a rat, another one you're hit with Otto's Irresistible Dance. I mean, at least it's amusing to look at, as opposed to like the Iron Pot, which they have coded as neutral, which blinds you for 10 seconds. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, you know, you're constantly getting cursed, you're constantly getting poisoned. There's just a lot of stuff that breaks the immersion. And while I do think it's fun and I am enjoying it as a meme, I don't know if I would actually consider making a wild mage as my main, because I don't think I would ever be invited to a raid. Like, I think it would just be too unstable. But as far as like getting past lives or leveling or making interesting content for a stream, I think it's pretty cool. I do like the effect, and I do think that the Chaosmancer is S tier in one regard, and that is mana management. I don't think that there is a better caster out there for mana management as far as the Chaosmancer. I think they are complete S tier with all the different SLAs that you get and the ability to make things like Collar Spray do damage. They just, I never have to worry about mana. It's completely amazing in heroics on a Sork to not think about mana. So something to think about.
Where are you going? Hunting for gold that is flowing. Somewhere in the cold world, hid there is no knowing. Hey la, oh la la la. We love games. There's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la la. We love games. Where are you going? There's no knowing what magic awaits, what evil is growing. Hey la, oh la la la. We love games. Hunting old crypts is folly. Just play games and be jolly. Magical treasures hide in the dark, so rest and embark. Love games. There's a standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la la. We love games. Hunting old crypts is folly. Just play games and be jolly. Magical treasures hide in the dark, so rest and embark. We love games. Let's stand a stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make